Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Shio and we are back I tell you, with another Genshin Impact tier list. It's been a while since I did one of these. I'm excited to get back to them. Today we are going to be ranking Genshin Impact bursts, that is burst animations, based off of, you know, how cool they are, how innovative, how new, how fresh they feel. We're also going to be going through the characters in order from release, because I have a feeling they're going to get, generally speaking, better as they go. And as you can see here, I'm not going to go through the categories of my tier list because they're pretty self-explanatory, but we do have at the very top, #1 best. That is right, I am going to be making a definitive claim, subjective to me, but definitive in my case, for the best burst in the game. I already think I know my answer to it. We'll see when we get there. But I am going to be saying it, so let's get straight into it. Firstly, we have Diluc. I do like Diluc, and I do like his burst. I was originally going to put him in Ugh, because I think that his initial close-up aspect of his animation is rather lackluster. The giant flaming phoenix part of it definitely saves it, and I do want to include all of the effects of a burst, so I am going to put him here in It's Whatever. Still pretty basic. Obviously he was one of the first characters to be made. However, that big fiery phoenix does help. Jean, on the other hand, does not fare as well, unfortunately. I think her initial burst animation on cast is definitely a little static, a little boring, and the persistent effects that it has on feel, that little circle, are not too interesting. I'm sorry, Jean. Mona, I'm going to put in nice. I really like the starry, watery effect that happens in her burst. I also like how all the enemies are struggling in the air afterwards. But the initial cast animation is definitely a little boring. I think that if Mona came out today, she would have such a cool burst animation, but unfortunately she was one of the first characters made. Keqing's is awesome. I'm going to put her in nice, but I'm going to put her below Mona. I am going to rank them within the tiers themselves. That was something I didn't mention. Her cool teleporting, the purple electric, little clones are very, very cool. And I still like to see it to this day, even though her burst isn't great. I still like it. Chi is great. I like her burst a lot. I think the animation is really cool, the way she floats, and then little talisman that goes around. We'll put her in nice, slightly above Keqing, because I think that she has more, particle effect-y things going on, if that makes sense. Yeah. And then, we must remember that there is a character in Genshin who is not a 5-star who has a burst animation, and that is, of course, Barbara. It is easy to forget. I'm gonna put Barbara in It's Whatever under Diluc. I don't like the particle effects and stuff that much. Her little animation she does on upon cast is very cute, but that's about it. So we'll leave her there. Alright, our next 5-star is Venti, our first Archon. I'm gonna put Venti in... Oh, is it bad to put him here? I'm gonna put him in It's Whatever. The initial cast animation is whatever, and the black hole effect, it just doesn't really look that great by modern standards. One day we will get a Venti skin and they will give him new effects and he's gonna look great. I know it's gonna happen, but today is not that day. I definitely think in terms of not just modern Genshin characters, but especially Archons, he's a little lackluster, but I do still love you, you silly little bard. Okay, Klee is up next. I think I'm going to confidently put her above Mona, or maybe right below Mona. Her initial cast animation is very cute, and then the persistent effects with the little flowers that appear and shoot lasers down is also very fun. But do I like it more than the starriness of Mona's? I don't think so. I do think it's more impressive than Mona's, but I just like the general aesthetic of Mona's more. So we're going to keep her right below Mona. I think that feels good to me. Okay, next is Zhongli, of course, our second Archon. His burst made everyone go feral for this man. And one of the most iconic Genshin moments of all time was when his demo dropped and the beat drops right as he will have's order.
I will have order!
and everybody lost their muck freaking minds. So obviously he's going in peak. I honestly think that Zhongli is so hard to live up to. He's like really difficult. Like they peaked really early with Zhongli. It's so simple, but it's so effective because just the idea of throwing a meteorite onto someone is incredibly cool. And the way he just does it with his arms crossed, looking forward, is just so him. It's so him. Child is a cheater because he has 2 for some reason. Who let you have 2, Child? Huh? That's not fair. But unfortunately, I think that they're both boring. I'm gonna put him slightly below Diluc. I think a lot of Child's animation coolness comes from obviously his dual sword, hydro, normal attacks. His bursts are kind of whatever. Sorry, I like Child, but eh. Albedo. I think Albedo's is very cool. I'm gonna put it in nice right above Mona, I think. Or maybe I'll put it here. I'm gonna put it in wait a second for now. The snap he does, bow, snap. And then he like shakes his hand out and then it's like the flower petals all around him. I think Albedo is very underrated in Genshin for his drip. I think all of his animations, including his like normal attacks and stuff, are so cool. And I think his burst is definitely one of those. I just really like Albedo's entire aesthetic. So yeah, love Albedo. Next is Ganyu. Oh, I love Ganyu's burst. I'm going to put her slightly above I'm going to put her above Albedo because her burst lasts forever. So you see the effects for a really long time. Her initial cast where she raises that orb thing is very cool. It's very pretty. It's very like, it looks very mystical. It's very fitting for her. And then the giant icicles that fall, I like too. Very pretty burst. Next is Xiao. I'm going to put Xiao right here in wait a second. He has a very quick burst animation, which I love. I think all main DPSs should have I think everyone should have quick burst animations. Putting the mask on is obviously very cool, and then the little spears that appear whenever he plunge attacks, also very cool. Turns out, very cool character. Hu Tao is next. I think Hu Tao's is full of personality. I love the little ghost. But it goes by very quickly. It doesn't have any persistent on-field effects or anything. So I am going to put it here, just because it doesn't have that sort of like oomph. The next character we'll be looking at is Eula. Sorry Eula, but you're going to go down here. Eula's initial cast is pretty boring. It's kind of just like Diluc's, and then she doesn't have like the big phoenix that Diluc has. She has like a floating sword next to her, but that's not really exciting. I do think it is better than the other ones at least. But yeah, it's not great. Sorry, Eula. And then of course, Kazuha. My boy, my favorite Genshin character. I'm gonna put Kazuha here. Maybe I'm being biased. I love his initial burst animation. The cast where he pulls the sword from its scabbard and he's like saying the lines of a haiku. I think that's very good. It's very him. And then obviously, I know that the joke with Kazuha's burst is that the effects of it around you like blind you. When you're in a domain, you can't find the exit if his burst is still going on. But they're so cool. Like, have you ever just stopped to look at Kazuha's burst after he does it? It's so pretty, no matter what element he absorbs, no matter what color it is, it's so nice to look at. I love his entire like aesthetic with his attacks and his animations and stuff. Peak. Okay, and now we're into the 2.0 characters, starting with Ayaka. I think Ayaka's initial cast animation is nice, but I don't like the persistent cryo, like a little cloud thing she does. I think they're very basic looking. Apparently, Ayaka was like the first Genshin character ever made, or was she the second after Xiao? One of those two was first, and I think it kind of shows in her animation, specifically her burst. Just the like weird ice things that float in front of her, they don't look like anything, really. If she released today, she would have like, they would look much cooler. So instead I think I'm going to put her here, because I do like her initial cast animation with her fan more than I like these characters' initial casts. Yoimiya, one of my other favorite characters, woohoo, peak. Yoimiya has one of the most dynamic burst animations. The way she like jumps up into the sky with the fireworks behind her. Do we have any character that like moves that much during a burst animation? I don't think so, right? Like, even when you do Yoi's burst in co-op and you see someone else do it, or you like manage to cancel her burst animation so you see it from third person or whatever, it looks so cool. Like, she genuinely jumps up there. It's really awesome. So yeah, peak for sure. For sure. Next is Raiden. I am actually going to put Raiden in peak right here, but not because of the initial cast. I think pulling the sword out of her chest is cool, but it also is kind of whatever. I've seen it before. But the part that I really like is during her burst, her attack animations leave those like, she's like ripping the fabric of reality apart and has that like space effect. That's cool. That's my favorite part of her burst, and that's what's like really carrying her, because I really like that aspect of her burst animations. Next is Kokomi. I'm gonna put Kokomi down here, I think. I'll put her above Mona, or below Mona, right here. I'm gonna put her here. I think both her initial cast and the little, I don't know what it's called, but it's that like ritual fabric that she wears around her while the burst goes on, is kind of fine. It's a little understated, both of them, which makes sense for her character, but it's not particularly flashy or anything. Yeah, that's about it. Ito, the one and only, is of course next, and I'm gonna give him, I'm gonna put him here. I think he's got enough going on in his burst animation and his persistent effects with the big club to put him above the characters in Nice, but I don't think any part of his kit puts him above any of these characters. I do like his pose in the initial cast, and I really like the like static background behind him. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I do. I think it's really cool. We don't have a lot of characters that do that have like that flat image behind them as opposed to whatever the environment you're in is. But other than that, that's kind of all he does, is he like does a pose, and then most of his attacks after that are the exact same animations as his normal attacks usually are. It doesn't change anything other than the big club, obviously. So yeah, I don't think he is above these guys necessarily. I believe next is Shenhe, and I'm gonna put Shenhe in, ooh, this one's difficult. I really like Shenhe's. I might put her at the top of peak. Or even, no, sorry, top of way to second. Or maybe bottom of peak. I'm gonna put her here. Ultimately, there's a lot of characters in the game who have a burst animation similar to them kind of moving from one side of the screen to the other, or moving their hand from one side of the screen to the other, which is kind of what Albedo does. But I really like Shenhe's like cryo avatar clone, and I like that in her persistent effect, the like little thing that she creates after her burst, you can see the little avatars like swooshing in and out with the cryo effects. I think that's awesome. I really, really like it. Yae Miko is next, and I am gonna put her in peak, I think. I'm actually gonna put her above Uemiya. Maybe, yeah, I'm gonna put her above Raiden, I think. No, I'll put her here. The look that she gives during the initial cast animation with the like half-lidded glowy eyes, I think is so cool. So cool. But the thing that really carries her into peak is the sound design of her burst. When you have like her 3 totems out and then you cast her burst and it does the pew 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 sound. That shit is so satisfying to hear, genuinely. It is so good. Okay, next is Ayato, our last Inazuma character from 2.0. I do really like his persistent effects, the little raindrops that fall and then the flowers that bloom, but I don't think it's like quite on this level. I'm gonna put it above Mona, but I like him more than Ito. I think Ito is gonna go down, and I think Hu Tao is as well. And I think maybe Xiao will as well. I'm reshuffling some of these, and while I think about it, I think some of these guys need to come down here as well. Is that right? I don't know. I'll keep thinking about it, because now there's like this really weird split. I'm gonna put some of these guys back up. I don't like the split where like Nice has 1 million people and everything else has the same amount. Okay, Yelan. Yeah, I mean, sure. I don't know. I don't think it's that great. I'll put her here. Wait a second. I like the dice stuff. I like her pose during her burst where she like holds the dice down by her waist. She's like, whoa, and then she's got it down there. But that's about it. I prefer Xingqiu's rain sword aesthetic more than her like weird thread stringy stuff that she does. Okay, Tugnari is next, and he's fine. I'm gonna put him here. That seems about right. I like the vines growing on the bow during the beginning of his cast animation, but I'm not a huge fan of what the projectiles look like once they are actually launched from his bow. I think they're kind of whatever. Okay, next is Cyno, my boy, my absolute boy. Yeah, number 1. I don't know what to say. Cyno has the best burst in the game from a visual standpoint. His cast animation is incredible with that giant claw and his Anubis mask, and then just all of his attacks during his burst are so damn cool. They're so cool. Cyno is, in absolutely every way, my favorite character aesthetically. All of his animations, his design, his weapon, everything is like peak to me. When I was a child, I was a very big like Egyptian mythology nerd, and I feel like Cyno just speaks to that like 12-year-old me so much. I'm like, this is what I imagined in my head when I was reading Egyptian mythology stories and the Kane Chronicles by Rick Riordan and stuff like that. Like, oh, he's so cool. So cool. I'd be interested to hear what y'all's favorite is though, because mine is obviously Cyno. We put him there. But what is yours? I'd be interested to hear. Nilou is next. I really like Nilou. I think I'm going to put her here above Yelan. I think I'm going to put Yelan down here, dudes. Which means I'm probably going to move some characters down to It's Whatever. Because, yeah, that seems about right. Maybe I'll put Klee up here. I do like Klee's. Klee's is really fun. I feel like Klee's actually could go up here instead. Because her, like, persistent on-field effects look much cooler than Ayaka's do. Even if I like her initial cast slightly less. Yeah, we'll stay like that for now. Okay, Nahida. Interesting. The thing with Nahida's burst is, as much as I like it, it's so long, and whenever I use her, I can't help but feel I'm wasting precious milliseconds off my rotations. But it is peak, isn't it? I'm going to put her right above Yui. No, I'm going to put her here. The thing is, like, that giant temple of Maya she makes is so cool. Like, seeing that thing on field is so cool. Even if it does, like, completely blind you sometimes, it is awesome to look at. So yeah, I'll probably put her up there. She might even... No, I don't think she's above Zhongli. I think this is good. I think that, like, the Temple of Maya is cool, but it doesn't quite have the, like, oomph factor that Zhongli's Meteor does, you know? Okay, Skara / Wanderer. He's peak. He steps on you. Boom. We'll put the teacher and the student together. I love these two's little mentor-student relationship so much. They're so wholesome. I love them. So we're going to put them together, but also I do think that's a good place for him. I don't know, it's so in character. I remember when I first saw that burst for the first time, all I could think of was, yeah, that tracks completely. I don't know if there's a more in character burst than Skara's. Next is Alhaitham, my husband. I don't think he's in Wait a Second. His cast animation where he just kind of like moves his hand is kind of boring, but the actual thing he creates during his burst with all the prisms and the light reflecting in it is really cool, but it's also really short and you're not really going to look at it well, it doesn't matter if you look at it because it exists anyway. But yeah, I don't think he's in Wait a Second tier, but I also don't think he's like any lower than any of these characters. Dia's going in Wait a Second for sure, and I just love Dia so much, dude. I'm gonna put her, honestly, I'm gonna put her at the top. Oh, should she go in peak? No, I'm gonna put her here. The initial cast animation where she goes like, with her gauntlet is so cool, dude. And then the punches are a little boring because there's only 2 hits and then she repeats them over and over. But that initial whoosh is so damn cool. Ugh, I love Dia so much. Yeah, she wins by cool factor alone, to be honest. Baizhu, I don't think I'm the only person that would agree that Baiju's kinda down here. I like Baizhu. I plan to roll on him soon. Whenever he reruns next, I probably will be rolling for Baizhu. So if you want to see that, stick around, subscribe, all that jazz. But I don't love his burst animation. I do really like the mountains in the background while he does it. But everything else, the way he moves, The way he moves his hand, the actual shield it creates, the little things that fly off his shield and stuff, it's whatever. His normal attack, wait, we're not counting his normal attacks, this is bursts only. Yeah, it's fine, it's kind of whatever. Linny is so peak, dude. He's going up here for me. I love all of Linny's animations. I love his aesthetic so much. He's so good. Everything about Linny is so peak to me. He's just so fun. He's such a silly guy. None of it, his animations don't take him too seriously. They're just flashy and fun. Exactly what it should be for a magician character like him. And the fact that his initial cast is awesome with a little cat and the little hat thing and the background and everything, and then he just turns into a cat. You get to run around as a giant cat. You cannot tell me that isn't peak. You cannot tell me that isn't peak. I would honestly be tempted to put him above Zhongli. And I'm gonna. You know what? I'm biased, and I'm gonna. Sorry, Zhongli. Niviette. Okay, I'm gonna put Niviette here, or down here even. His burst animation, to me, what makes his burst, what makes it is the sound, the dun, you know. Be sanctified. And it's very cool. He doesn't do a lot during it, but that kind of fits his character. But it's that initial, the noise, the dong. It's like a bell tolling, I think. So cool. So cool. It gives him this air of power. So I'm going to put him at the bottom of... Wait a second, because these characters do a little more. And here's my hot take about Niviette, okay? Are you ready? I don't love the balls. I don't really know what they're supposed to be. I know what they're called, the source water droplets and stuff, but I wish they had gone for a different aesthetic for what those little balls he creates, because I can't, they just look like soccer balls on the field. I wish that they had done something a little different for the little things he creates on the field, because they're kind of boring, and they show up in the burst as well. That's my only gripe with Niviette, entirely as a character, so we'll take it. Wriothesley's burst is so cool, but I feel like you need to slow it down to really appreciate what he's doing. I'm gonna put him here. I'm gonna put him here next to Dia, the punching king and queen. You have to slow down his burst, because what he does is he throws the glove up into the air behind him, backwards, and then he it falls and he turns around and he shoves his hand into it to punch, and I'm just dude. Very cool. But again, it happens so quickly. To really appreciate it, you have to slow it down. I'm sure I'm showing it on screen so you can see, but yeah, so cool. Farina! Where are we going to put Farina? I like Farina's burst animation, but I don't love it. The border effect it does around the screen with all the bubbles and the little people on the bottom is not my favorite. Hot take. I find it a little distracting whenever I play her, but the initial cast animation is very cute, so I'm probably going to put her in, wait a second, maybe right above Niviette, or even above Nilou. I'm gonna put her here, I think. I think that's a decent place. Or above Nilou. Could go either way. They're tied, how about that? Navia is also peak, dude. Her burst animation is so fun and satisfying when she uses it. That boom of the cannons being shot. The way her dress and her umbrella ruffle with the impact of the cannons firing, the fucking shoujo manga ass rose framing it has, so good. All of Navia's aesthetics are so on point. One day I will roll for her. but for right now I'm prioritizing supports. But yeah, so cool. Okay, Shan Yun, Cloud Retainer. I don't love her burst. I think it's a little boring. I don't love the little creature thing, it's not a creature, it's like a little mechanical thing. I don't love it. All of it is pretty boring to me. I'm probably gonna put her here, below Tugnari. They're kind of on the same level to me. And it's just another one of like a character like moving their arm across the screen, you know? Okay, last but certainly not least, we have Chiori, our most recent 5-star. I definitely think that Chiori is up here in this way to second category, and I'm gonna put her right above Neviette, maybe? No, I'm gonna put her a little higher. I'm gonna put her here, right above Farina. I like the patterning, the cloth. I like how she cuts through it. The 2 weapons. I love a dual wielder in general. I think all of that is working in her favor. Yeah, I think that feels good. I'm gonna move some of these other ones around because I don't like the layout. I'm gonna move. I feel like we need more than one in Ugh, so I am gonna move Venti because I just don't think his effects stand up to time, and I'm gonna move Child as well. Sorry, Child. Barbara I am gonna keep because I think she is a little bit more dynamic during her burst. She does that like beh, and then she like spins around or whatever. So I think that's fine. She can stay there. I will probably move Eula down here though. She just doesn't have a lot going on, and that's not really helping her. I really want to move one of these up or down so that they're all equal rows, but I don't know. And yeah, I'll move Ayaka here. Why not? Sorry, Ayaka. The rest look good to me. I think these are good cutting off points. So yeah, that is my list, my ranking for Genshin bursts based purely on aesthetics and visuals. I'm wondering if you agree with this list. What do you think are the most absolutely detestable, vile takes I made in this video? What do you absolutely not agree with at all? Who is your favorite? Instead of Sino at number 1, who would you put at number 1? And explain. I want reasoning, okay? This is a full, scholarly essay you're writing. I'm joking. Yeah, and tell me who's your least favorite as well. I think that's interesting. Tell me your favorite and your least favorite, and we'll see if we can determine, anything about you based off of who your favorite and least favorite are. That being said, thank you all for watching this video, another Genshin tier list. I hope that you enjoyed. Let me know if you want to see any other tier lists. Suggest a topic down below if you really want to see one. But other than that, if you enjoyed, I'd really appreciate a like and a comment. It really helps me feel motivated to make more videos, and also subscribe if you like this kind of content. I make Genshin videos once every week or 2. I try to stay pretty consistent because you guys really like them, and I play Genshin every day, so it, it feels appropriate to make a lot of videos about it. So yeah, anyways, thank you all so much for watching once again, and I will see you all next time. Later!